I'm Jim.
And I'm Becca.
And we are professional Englishists. Okay, so this week we're going to take a break from talking about commas because we've been talking about commas for a while and there's something else we want to cover. And we figured maybe we can do something that's a little bit less sort of structured lesson type of thing and just sort of talk. So today we kind of want to talk about young adult literature and the sort of English high school curriculum reading list.
Well, my high school experience was a little different because I was homeschooled, but I think I still read a few of the regular, like, coming-of-age books that we were forced to read. Like, you know, The Great Gatsby, Lord of the Flies.
Mine was really... I went to school in New York, and New York is super, super structured when it comes to education because of the Regents exams. I'd say there's about 2 books that we read from junior high school through high school that kids really sort of understood and enjoyed reading and therefore were participatory in class. And that was probably like To Kill a Mockingbird by Harper Lee, which like everyone reads and likes. And I actually have a copy of, although I don't know where it is. But it's the same copy like everyone owns. It's that purple copy with like the Black Mockingbird. And then Lord of the Flies by William Golding, which we tend to read senior year of high school.
Yeah.
But when we read on top of that, we read like 2 books by Steinbeck. I think we read The Pearl, and we read Of Mice and Men, which Of Mice and Men is probably the only decent book by Steinbeck. That's just my personal preference. We read one Shakespeare play a year. Like Arwen, when she was going through high school, they read like Grapes of Wrath.
Oh
like,
yeah.
Why would you assign that to high schoolers? No high schoolers are going to enjoy it. It's
horrible.
An incredibly slow book to read. She read Scarlet Letter, which like no one likes in high school, and is a fine book. It's a great book, but it's not something you're going to understand in high school.
No, I read Pilgrim's Progress.
Man, what an awful book to read.
It was horrible.
I can't think of anything else we read with those, but they assigned a lot of stuff, a lot of poems that weren't very good. Oh, we read The Glass Menagerie. But I think we read it in like 9th grade, and again, like I just didn't really get it, and so like it was just...
It's adult situations that they make high schoolers read that they really can't relate to yet.
Right.
Like the questions being asked in these plays or these novels are questions that teenagers don't have.
So anyway, the point of all of this is that the reason that this is the case in high school is that it's been the case forever, and we didn't have a genre of literature to sort of fix it. Like, we didn't have a genre of literature of books written for, young adults.
Yeah.
Until very, very recently. And stuff like Lord of the Flies and To Kill a Mockingbird and Catcher in the Rye are novels that are now considered young adult literature, but at the time they were just literature. Like, I mean, it's just like they were clearly, that was their audience, but there wasn't a genre to classify them as.
Yeah.
But there is now, and so I think we're going to see sort of a movement going towards that. Hopefully in the next like 10 or 15 years, we're just going to see more and more of that curriculum turning over to YA stuff. The reason we're talking about that this week is that this book, The Fault in Our Stars by John Green, is going to be, it is a movie. The movie is going to come out 2 Fridays from now on June 6th. Yeah. So,
that's soon.
And so if you go, I'll put the links below for this, but there might still be tickets available, but they are going to do a early showing the night before on June 5th called The Night Before Our Stars. And so you can buy tickets to that. I think they're $20. You get to see it ahead of time, and there's like a simulcast thing with like a Q&A with John Green, the actors, and I think the director, I don't know. I'm not Fox, so don't take my word for this. But it's but with people. That'll be really cool. And we're going, so you should check it out. But the reason I want to do this week is that you should read the book first. Talking about that movement towards teaching young adult literature, some of the stuff is actually being taught already. Like John Green's other novel, Looking for Alaska, is taught in a few schools. And I think there might be, I'm not sure there's in this version, but in some versions there are discussion questions. There are in that version of Tifios, discussion questions about if you're going to teach this in a classroom.
I think it's interesting, too. That's not the first book I've had with discussion questions.
Yeah, they do that a lot now. I think that they're really trying to move towards teaching YA books to high schoolers, which is good. You get, Harry Potter gets taught in high schools now sometimes.
Well, Pride and Prejudice and Zombies had discussion questions, which I thought was really
that's true. I forgot about that. Yeah, it does.
And I kind of like what he did with Pride and Prejudice and Zombies. Like, he replaced all of the social interactions that had happened during the book with zombies. And it was sort of an interesting commentary on, like, social norms and why we do what we do. I mean, it sort of implies, right, that everybody who's acting within the social norms in the book were basically just zombies.
Right. Following
the norms because they're there, not because they thought about them, which was interesting. And then the book Feed, that I used with my thesis, Feed had questions at the end, too.
The whole thing about good YA literature, and there's bad YA literature, just like there's good YA literature, just like there's bad, adult literature. There's lots of that. There is.
There's scores of that.
But the good thing about good YA literature is it makes you think about things. It's written in a way that young people can understand these things and relate. And I don't like... I think the term understand is probably the wrong term, because lots of people in high school can understand what goes on in books, but they can't relate to them. You know?
Here's a problem that I see. We have had books like that in the past. Like, if you think of Stephen King's The Body, was about a group of young boys who essentially, like, they hear one of their friends was hit by a train, I think is how it goes.
I didn't read the book, but I have seen Stand By Me, and that's the case of Stand By Me.
And so they go out thinking that they can see this dead body. And it's really about, like, childhood and growing up and dealing with death and your own mortality from a child's perspective.
Right.
However, it doesn't get taught in schools because it's labeled pop fiction.
Right.
And therefore worthless.
Well, and the thing is that, and I think that some of that is breaking down as well, is that we're seeing that popular doesn't have to mean like vacant of like meaning. Like The Fault in Our Stars is very popular. It was a New York Times bestseller. It was, I think, Time magazine said it was the best book of the year, like period, like not just YA book, like best book of the year it came out. But it's full of meaning. I mean, and kids can relate to it, and adults can relate to it.
Alright, so I hope you don't mind that we were a little informal and this was more of a discussion panel. If you have any questions about what we talked about, or if you want to add to the discussion, give us your ideas, your opinions, how you feel about the topic, please put your comments below. If you especially like the way we do this format, favorite the video, like the video, subscribe. Let us know what you enjoy seeing so we can produce more of that. And I guess we'll be back on Commas next week.
As far as I know, yeah.
All right. So thank you for joining us.
Bye.
Bye.